and then all the like the emotional flashback shit, I'm just like tears in my eyes. I'm like, why is this movie doing this to me? Like, am I seriously crying at Speed Racer right now? Although you're probably thinking the same thing when you were crying at Bend It Like Beckham. So
No, that was a father of daughters. Like, I get it.
I finally watched. I finally watched.
I
Finally
watched. I
finally
watched.
I finally watched.
hey guys, welcome to another episode of I Finally Watched. I'm Milan.
And this is David. And today I finally watched Speed Racer.
I know that this movie gets a lot of flack over the years, but I remember when I first watched this movie, it wasn't in theaters, I don't think. It was just like at home. And I probably thought the same thing about it. A lot of people thought at the time, I was like, this is way oversaturated, over colorful, way cartoony. And I don't think it was like quite appreciated for what it was in its time. Of course, this is back when like a lot of comic book adaptations were taking in a more dark and grittier tone. However, I visited this movie a few years later and I really loved it. And then I visited it again a few years after that and I loved it even more. And then I caught myself like tearing up quite a few times through this movie upon this rewatch of it. And I'm just like, it's really fucking good. Like, I'm like, the balance between like fun and entertaining, but also heartfelt, I felt like is really perfect. And then now this, with this day and age where I feel like the general audience is kind of over that grittier tone of comic book adaptations, and we want like fun and colorful and exciting. And I think now it finally has it's like it's a moment to shine and be appreciated.
So this, I think, has become a little bit of a cult classic, that it has gained a reputation similar to the way it has with you. I never watched it. And I'm a big fan of like the Wachowskis' other movies, specifically, obviously, the first
The
Matrix,
world famous Matrix, yeah.
but also V for Vendetta, which they wrote. And I was kind of shocked. I figured I would like the movie. I was shocked at how good I thought the movie was.
Yeah.
I
Like
thought it was
story
actually,
wise?
I thought it was just fairly excellent. The animation did remind me a lot of like Sin City, but let's make it colorful.
Sure.
And I thought
Sure. You know what? I think I had the same thought too.
and the way that they cut, making it very much look like you and my brother talking about anime the other day, but made it look kind of like the anime, right? Like the way scenes would be like cut from the racing to this and that.
Well,
Like
it was kind
they
of,
would have the announcers pan over like a comic book, obviously is what I
well, I
mean.
was gonna say, yeah, like a comic book. More so. I think they were like one edit away, shy away from like a flip page transition,
Yeah.
but I think some of the choices that they did in the transitions and the way they had the story being told were so cool, with like the green screen background and speed on the racetrack, and then it's like his flashbacks and stuff like that, the way it rotates but doesn't rotate, right? Like everything rotates behind him. I was like, that's really awesome. And then a lot of choices that they did with how they represented the racing. I think I was talking to someone about it and they were like, it was like Mario Kart racing.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny is so you start in not very colorful. It's like kind of a pretty normal movie. I made the joke that before Speed Races, he used to think about his whole life because it shows him sitting on the bench, like in the locker room, and then it just does flashbacks, which I actually think is very effective. It does a lot of flashbacks in that scene while he's racing, and then again later on, cutting between him talking to Mr. Royalton and him explaining what's going to happen, and then it happening, and then cutting to right after it happens. Like the editing style I think is really great. And I think maybe, I don't know if that's why people didn't like it. I want to read this from the jump. So this has like a 37 Metascore. The lowest review is from a guy from the New Yorker, and the one quote is, "Though the film is not as criminally poor as V for Vendetta, which the Wachowskis wrote in 2005, it struck me as more insidious." Fuck that guy. First of all,
What's his name? Dox him right now.
no, I don't. I'll not do that. He's from the New Yorker. I've doxed it. I'm shitting on the New Yorker as a whole, but I like. So it starts as a I completely fucking segued off the point I was going to make about the colors, but so it starts with him in like the, in the race, right, and then cuts back to him in school, and it's got this whole like through line of him at school
I
not
thought
paying.
it started with him in school.
It starts with him in the locker room and then goes immediately to school and sort of stays at that. But it's not really the
Okay,
point.
because it's like the teacher brings in the mom because
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
like, yeah, okay.
Okay, watch it back. It does not exactly start with that. Anyway, my point is, it then shocks you when he opens the school doors and you see the first, like for the first time, you see the color palette of the movie when he walks outside of the school.
Not only that, but like everything is fake. Like not
Yeah.
only is everything oversaturated, but it's a cartoon. You know what it reminds me of is the Flintstones
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I can get
with
that.
John Goodman, and then also what I think the general audience wished the newest movie of He-Man looked like.
I heard people love that movie though.
Yeah, but there was a lot of negative reviews about how it like was too scared to go like that extra cartoony mile. And I was like, yeah, but did they want this? Like I wonder if if they got this, if people would have been people are never happy no matter what, but I
And I
digress.
will say, so the movie has like a very simple story, like a very simple sort of 3-act structure. There's
Sure.
like the beginning, there's
The
when
middle and the end, yeah.
except like the middle's got like sort of two aspects to it. It's got like Mr. Royalton like propositioning him and him saying no. Then it's got the whole Tejo, whatever his name is.
Tejo, yeah, yeah.
Tejo, it's got that whole story, and then he sort of was like, nah, fuck that. And then the end race, right? Like, but it's a 2 hour and 15-minute movie that doesn't really feel long, but you're like, with all that going on, because I mean it's an action movie, sort of, right? Like it's a sports movie, but it's like really action packed, because these are like almost like no one dies because they have this cool bubble thing, but it's almost like a death race.
I think Snake Oil guy dies.
No, because you see the bubbles.
Oh no, he got alive because of the parachute. The other guy was the bubble guy. He jumped off the cliff. Okay, you're right. Okay, so this is a sports movie. This is an action flick, but also it's an espionage spy movie.
It's kind of like Cars 2.
It's kind of like Cars too. No, but I think what's so cool about this movie, and I don't know if have you ever watched the original Speed Racer?
A little bit as a kid, like it would come on, but I was not like a fan of it.
Me too. Right. I am aware of it, but I didn't sit down and watch it. Also, we're not old enough to like your brother said the other day when I was talking to him. He's like, that's the only thing that was playing from Japan when he was a kid, right? But the aspect of the ridiculousness of all the characters that kept through line in the movie, I thought was great, right? Like the younger brother with his monkey,
I thought
Trixie
that
owning.
character could have been so annoying, and it wasn't. Like I think the actor did a great job with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like everyone was just charming. Like
Well,
everything was like to a degree within that world realistic and grounded, which is kind of funny because this movie is not grounded, but within the concept of the world it was. And then like Trixie owning a helicopter, right? And like just things like that. It never made fun of itself. I loved how serious it took itself, and I think that is what really made it work.
yeah, I was gonna say that like I don't know why the movie had to make like Susan Sarandon and Christina Ricci like not look as good to their full potential. Like I always find them very attractive in movies, and in this one, I was like, what is the movie doing to like
Well, I don't know what they're doing with
dull down their
Christina.
shine? You know what I mean?
I don't know what Christina Ricci's hair was doing, but
That was part of the problem.
if you look at the cartoon, Trixie's hair was the same as the mom's hair, and it's like maybe that's like what they did not want to do. It's like, oh, you didn't want to have like Speed dating someone that looked like their mom.
I guess
And
I
just
just
change it up a little. I don't know.
and then why like I guess you didn't want Speed Racer's mom to look hot, so you had to tame down Susan Sarandon. I don't know.
Sure.
Is that what the people wanted? I don't think so.
Mm.
I think we can get
I like how
started.
your big critique is the women weren't hot enough in this movie, but go
No,
continue,
that's
please.
not that. I mean, that is a misstatement of my critique. My critique is that you had two very attractive actresses, and then you dulled down their shine. You took away. I mean, they're 5 tool players. You took away one of their tools.
I'm very interested in the twist of this movie, on what your thought about it is, because it's been a while since this rewatch that I've seen it. And I always remembered that Matthew Fox's character was in fact not the brother.
Yeah,
And this time watching it, how the end was like, actually he is the brother with fake face reconstruction surgery. I was like, they're not setting up a sequel, but like, I don't know. I like it, but the whole back and forth, like, oh, it totally is, it's totally not. What were your thoughts about that?
well, I think I must have watched enough Speed Racer as a kid to know that Racer X was the brother. 'Cause I just
Racer X?
yeah, fucking it's like Charlie Day in the mailroom. Like I think I've cracked it. Yeah, no, I think I remember that. So the whole time I thought he was, and then when he says I'm not, I was like, I don't know about that.
Well, the whole thing, right? The whole thing was like, when I'm racing with you, it feels like we've raced for ages. Like, you
Yeah,
know every turn and move that I want to make. And I'm like, dude, if it's not his brother,
it's gay
Speed
love.
Racer and Racer X are gonna fuck, you know?
Yeah, well, still good if he's really like committed to not telling his family, I guess. So I kind of expected it, and then when to do it at the end, I guess there was all the actors when they like left the movie told the Wachowskis like we want to do a sequel, and they're like, all right, we'll write it, and then it just never happened. I think possibly because I don't know, this either didn't do well, it definitely wasn't critically received well. So
It is so interesting. And I talked to you about this a little earlier, where, you couldn't remake this movie nowadays. You could make a sequel, right? Like the Wachowskis could come back and you could make a sequel, but then how relative is Speed Racer in today's age? And then you were like, well, how relative was Speed Racer back when
relevant,
it was made? And then I would say not very relative according to the box office.
relevant.
Relevant. Well, relative to.
There we go. I agree. So let's get into it a little bit. One thing I know, so in the beginning when he's racing, I loved the ghost racer of his brother that he's chasing the whole time. And
Yeah.
then it reminds me, I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. Did this come first, or did the Reddit post where the guy talked about, he was like, I played this racing game with my dad, he died, and I never could catch his ghost car. And then one day I caught it and I stopped at the finish line because, like, that's my
That
dad. Like, I don't want to get rid of it, right? And
well,
that's
also in that Reddit post in the game, if you pass the ghost car, it goes away
correct. No, and I think that's what would have happened here too. So that's why he stopped. He didn't want Rex to go away.
in his memory.
I thought the ghost car was a real thing in this race.
No.
I don't know.
No, it's not. It's that was he was timing himself, and he knew that he was ahead of his brother. That's why he stopped. No one else could see that. That was in his head.
Well, no one else could see it because they were very far behind. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Anyway,
I was talking
so,
about even like his parents. His parents knew too, because they knew the time. But that was in his head.
now I got to go on Reddit to figure out if that's real. They have Ariel Winter as a young Ricci. It was nice to see her in this. And then the brother dies, and we're kind of sort of out of this like little area of this. And we get Mr. Royalton, who I've seen him in two other things. Tamara Drew, and then he is the voice of England in V for Vendetta. So I guess the Wachowskis liked him in that. He always plays evil assholes exceptionally well.
So, do you think that they like the direction that they told him was like, just do your best, Tim Curry?
But be more British.
I didn't it feel like he was just like Tim Curry could have just done this?
He's Tim Curry's like more serious cousin. Like Tim
I
Curry's
guess.
Tim Curry always has a tilt of like it's funny,
Yeah.
like it's maniacal, whereas this guy's just like evil.
I guess you're right. Man, but if you close your eyes and just listen to him, sounds like
Well,
Tim Curry.
but they look kind of they look similar. That's why I said cousin. Like they look. It's not something I tracked when I was watching it, but yeah, no, for sure. I do love all like I said, the little brother character could be fucking annoying, and it wasn't. I like his facial expressions, like the little non sequiturs with him, like practicing kung fu with the monkey.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Dude, one of the
all this
best
stuff.
visual gags of this entire movie was panning from the brother wearing pajamas with monkeys on them to the monkey wearing pajamas with little boys, like
Yeah,
human
yeah.
faces on him. I was like, oh my God.
So they go to Royalton's office, and he's like, and the mom's like, "Oh, I've never flown this low to the city," and he's like, "Yeah, there's only 6 permits a year," and I was like, "Is that like 6 permits, like a one-time thing, or 6 permits per person? Like, how special is this?"
In the world or like over where the fuck they are?
Well, that's city, but it's
Tokyo?
is a permit for a one-time thing? Like he's allowed to fly one
No, I
time.
think
That's
the
one of the
permit,
six?
I don't know why we're talking about this, but I think the permit lasts a year and only 6 are given out or like renewed every
Well, yeah,
year.
but that makes it less special, I guess. So then he meets Cannonball, who he gives him a weird look at the end, and then we're like, all right, well, that guy's not good. And then we meet
Is that what that weird look says?
that weird look says, don't trust that guy. That guy
Hmm.
is not all he seems. He's not your hero that you thought he
It's
was.
it was a weird expression to me, but was it trying to represent like smiling while he like meets you, and then as soon as you turn your back, he's sour, like that kind of thing?
It was like sinister.
Oh, okay, all right. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, do what I can. So then we meet Tejo, who is played by Rain, who I saw in Ninja Assassin, but is also in a running gag of Conan O'Brien jokes from back in the day that also he just always had a thing against him. I don't know, it's funny.
Okay.
I thought he was pretty good in this. I almost got him. I guess it's not. You're not supposed to say you got one Asian guy confused with another Asian guy, but for a second I thought he was the guy from Disturbia.
No, but they look a lot alike in the definitely like when he puts on the helmet and it like covers his hair.
Right.
I can see that his hair is a very defining. Actually, Taylor pointed something out that was disturbing. Towards the end of the movies, when like there were makeup artists powdering the announcers, like the racers' noses,
Yeah.
right? There was the makeup artist who was also Asian who had like red streaks in her hair, and the announcer's like, "Have I seen you before? Are you new? Did you work the unit last year?" And she just like giggled and walked away. Taylor was like, "Is that Tejo in drag?" And I'm like, "It's not." But I also don't know why you would like put a very defining like hair feature on another actor in this movie.
And also, like, what was the point of that? I don't understand. By the
Oh,
way,
like the little interaction. I don't know.
it was Rain in Disturbia.
It is the same guy.
It's not. I was fucking with you.
Oh,
I don't even think they're the same ethnicity. So
the same type of Asian. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
actually, I don't know. I don't know. I think
You're being very bold right now,
I
and
think
I don't like it.
I I think we just gotta start out. Anyway, so we then get like Royalton makes this shady deal with the transistor foundry, and just to fucking keep digging a hole, he was making it with the one guy, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be Rain's dad because he's talking about it later, but then it was like, no, it was a different guy.
Oh my god.
Mr. Musha was not his dad. It was a different.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Normally,
you
Hollywood movies normally won't have two Asian guys in a movie because it'll confuse you.
especially like around the same age. I was going to say they are allowed to be in a movie together, David, despite
But it
your
would be the
like
dad and the son and the daughter. There wouldn't be another Asian guy, So it's whatever. I mean, this movie's progressive in that way. That's why it was ahead of its time.
that's true. Well, the Wachowskis were ahead of their time.
One of the fun facts was this was the last movie they made as the Wachowski brothers.
That's an IMDb fun fact. Yeah. Well, according to like that way of life, they were always the Wachowski sisters. They just didn't even know it.
Correct. Yeah, that's why I thought it wasn't very fun of a fact.
So this whole part of the movie about like driving the stock market up and like the espionage and the investigation done by Inspector Detector, which I have to say, brilliant name.
Yes.
I was like, if this failed in any other aspect of this movie, this driving the stock prices up investigation thing would be so boring. But because they do such a good job with every other aspect of this film, I was actually very much interested on how they were going to solve that part of the plot.
Just to close the loop, so Rain and Aaron Yu are both Korean, so we're safe there.
We're canceled.
They're both Korean, so we're good. And then Hiroyuki Sanada is the transistor guy, who's obviously Japanese. And we both knew that, so we didn't even make that. I thought the movie had fucked up. Anyway, I don't know.
Let me repeat what I said. Yeah, sure. So the driving the stock prices up and the Royalton trying to like get a bigger part of the company, I think worked.
Trying to buy them out.
I think worked really well and didn't drag the movie down at all because all the other aspects of the movie work so well.
Well, it's because of the cutting. Things are happening while other things are happening, so it's like you're not getting bogged down. You're not having like an action scene and then this boring scene. They're cut together in such a way that it just keeps moving.
Well, the other thing is, and someone with diagnosed ADHD can tell you, okay, this is an ADHD person's like the best movie ever. Like it constantly has you paying attention to something. You might not even know what it is, but you're paying attention to it. And I told you this before. I'm watching this. I was like, is this the most entertaining movie ever made? Because there's constantly something going on visually, dialogue-wise, but there's always fucking something going on. This movie had my attention from start to finish and never let go.
Yeah, it's very well written too, because it's very easy to follow. Like the stakes at every point. So I think the rally race is also just one of the most entertaining parts. I mean, there's three races, I guess. There's the opening race, there's the rally race, and then there's the final race. The rally race is kind of tremendous to watch. It goes on for a while. I mean, it's a 2-day race.
What's kind of funny is that this movie is about racing. Their names are Racer, and you're getting confused about the actor's race.
Just not going to let it go. I did get confused about the race. First of all, Thank you very much.
Sure.
So anyway, I also love when the dad shows up, John Goodman. We haven't said the name John Goodman yet. Is hilarious. He wants to make him go home, and then the mom steps in, and then he immediately goes from "we're going home" to like, "You added shit to the car, didn't you? It's off balance, isn't it?" And he's like, "All right, let's go." He's like, "Where's my tools? Like, we're gonna go fix it immediately."
Yeah.
And then
Well,
there's ninjas, full
what
circle to rain.
what's really cool too is like this movie starts out in the action, I feel like you are getting an understanding of the family dynamic, but not in a way that's like outside of racing. You're very much well aware that racing to this family is everything. Like he says later on, it's a religion to this family, right? So, yeah, whether like the brother wanted to that part was a little confusing to me on like did Rex was working for the CIB the same way that Speed was doing it at the end, right?
Yeah, and I guess he changed his face because he didn't, he knew how dangerous the world was, and then he didn't want them to go after his family.
But also, yeah, he couldn't tell the dad, and the dad thought that he was like selling out.
Yeah, but then why hide his face? I guess because of his chick, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. That was my question too. But well, yeah, but why hide your face? But also, Racer X is kind of like a superhero in this thing too, right? Like you have to have a secret identity, but what you don't know is that his secret identity also has a secret identity.
Correct. Yeah, it's like a Russian nesting doll of identities. So we get the second day of the race, right? The Casa Cristo, whatever the fuck that thing's called.
Good
Which
job.
that part really reminded me of like 300. It's in this like ethnically ambiguous sandy land with like the way it was shot.
300 or
The way they shot the lady who was like what the queen of Casa Cristo or whatever, I think she was a black lady,
yeah?
like in the way like the slow mo reminded me of like 300 because like I said, it felt like Sin City, it felt like a Robert Rodriguez or Zack Snyder movie from that era.
I could see that. That part specifically reminded me of Mad Max
Because of the sand.
because of the sand. Well, also the racing and the cars and everything like that. And then
So
like
the
the
ice cave reminded me of Wreck-It Ralph.
and good for you, bud.
No, so anyway, the ice cave I think is a great part, especially when he fucking gets launched off and just lands and then jumps to the other side. It's just driving on the fucking side of a mountain. It's pretty badass.
No, it is awesome. The part where in the beginning of the movie he's racing with his brother, right? He's like in the front seat with his brother. And he's like, you got to really listen to the car. You gotta like it's a feeling, right? And they bring that back to the end so well. Like you what they could have done is they could have just had him racing, thinking about or just having his brother's voiceover being like, you gotta feel it, right? But then they bring back like everyone's moment in this movie. They bring back something John Goodman says. They bring back something Susan Sarandon says. They even bring back like when Royalton was like being like, "You want to quit playing around or become a real racer," like that kind of stuff, right? But everything is just like, oh man, it was so good.
That's also in the last race. I guess you just wanted to move on.
No, I just wanted to mention it because it was just that good. Also, I don't understand how a what is it called? A snap hook or a claw hook, how that's illegal, but him having those like jumping hydraulics and like basically like flying jump kicking his other cars out of the way, how that's like perfectly okay.
It's just in the rules, baby.
Okay.
So we'll get to that. After the Casa Castra, whatever, when he
Casa Cristo.
calls, yeah, when he calls the dad and he's like, "What? I still want to buy whatever," and he's like, "No, it'll be 78 a share." And he said, "I'll sue you," and he's like, "Good luck." And he's like, "Ah, fuck it, okay." Because earlier, he just threatens to sue people. He's like, "I'm going to sue the Racer family and just like destroy them because they don't have any money." He says, "I'll sue this guy." This guy's like, "I got money. That's fine. Like, good luck." My
Yeah.
shares just went up exponentially, so that's fine. And then Rex takes off the mask. He's like, "Sorry, I'm not your brother." This is a really cool moment where Speed is going to leave, and then the dad stops him. He's like, "Hey, I'm not going to make the same mistake I made with Rex, because he told Rex, if you leave, you can never come back." He's like, "You're always welcome back."
I thought that was really beautiful character development for the dad.
And then the dad's like, the Grand Prix was not fixed, and like he's like, "No, you're wrong. It was never fixed." And I'm still like, John Goodman was so sure that I'm unsure now of whether it was actually fixed.
I think, yeah, I guess you're right. I took it as that it was fixed and he broke the cycle winning it.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, that makes sense too. So then Taijo's sister gives him the invitation.
This part was super cool, right? So you think Taijo's on his side, racer side, and the CIB side. He betrays him pretty much, and his sister is like looks at him like kind of like pretty disappointingly.
Yeah.
And the moment where he's announced as he's the 40th racer, how both her father and brother like look over to her and she's just like, "Oh, da, 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 da," like sipping on her drink. To then
Yeah.
when at the end of the race where he wins, Taijo is like, you know what? Actually, in fact, I'm back on your side.
I think it's because it's kind of like when you have like a bad cartel leader, mob boss guy, right? Like everyone's afraid of crossing them, but when they're taken out, they're now like you can get like their real, yeah, we're happy that that happened. We hated that guy, but we were just afraid, and that's kind
But
of what
that
it
was his
feels like.
father.
I think they're afraid of the main bad guy, whatever his name, Richington or whatever the fuck that guy's name was.
But the father wasn't like that. It was the brother. I think what happened was
I think
wasn't there a thing about like how
they
the
both
sister
hated
was
him and were afraid of him.
okay.
You can say your part. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Wow. I was just gonna say, wasn't there a thing where it's like Taijo was trying to gain in his father's favor, and then at the end he realized like that's not what he needed.
I don't I don't know about that, I guess. I mean, he cared about his family, right? So he's just trying to help his family out. I don't know that he needed
But
to
then
do.
maybe he thought he was on the like realized he was on the wrong side. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think they're mutually exclusive, right? I don't think he gave a fuck about Speed Racer's cause, but when it happened, he was happy about it. The main thing to him was his family, so we solved that bit of it, and also the CIB helped him not die from piranhas. You know what I mean?
That's true. That is true.
So enters the race. The detective says he'll shut down the race if they don't let him race, so he has to let him race because he could stop it if he wanted, but he can't. And then the race starts. What the fuck is this guy's name? Royalton. I keep forgetting his fucking name because it's like I know it's like something Richardson. Royalton wants to stop it, and obviously he can't. And then it's just a fucking amazing race. I did think it was kind of an interesting way to do the race to have like halfway through the race he takes out his main competition. He like knocks Cannonball out of the race, and then he has to just beat everyone else.
Well, that comes with the car not starting. And that's when you have like you got to listen to it and you got to know what it needs. And I got so emotional at this part because the dad off to the sideline obviously can't communicate with him at all. Is like all he has to do is put it in fifth gear and it'll start the whole thing up again. And the mom is like,
Does
would
he
he
know that?
know that? Would Sparky? And then he just listens to the car and does it. I was like, fuck, dude. And then all the like the emotional flashback shit, I'm just like tears in my eyes. I'm like, why is this movie doing this to me? Like, am I seriously crying at Speed Racer right now? Although you're probably thinking the same thing when you were crying at Bend It Like Beckham. So
No, that was a father of daughters. Like I get it. So I love the line, "Get that weak shit off my track." He's just trash talking Cannonball. And then the way he gets the cameras to see that Cannonball is cheating, I thought was
yeah,
great.
yeah.
And like the crowd reactions, the announcers, and then like, this will probably affect Royalton too. And then you just see all his hanger ons like walking away from him. And he's like, oh, fuck. He's like,
Dude,
this
one
is
of the
real
best
bad.
crash outs is when Royalton goes and runs up against that car ice sculpture and knocks it down, right?
Oh, and then, yeah, Sonata just looks at him. He's like,
Mm, mm,
fucking
mm.
lame ass bitch.
Yep.
And then I think what is a really great touch is he wins, and then almost all the sound gets cut, and it's just like for a movie that has been so frantic and such like a visually and sonically like a noise pollution movie to just cut everything as he wins to the point where I was like, well, did he win? Like,
Yeah, right. Actually, before that, he beats everyone. He's doing flying jump kicks in the air. He's knocking everyone out. He crosses the finish line at like a jolting halt, and you see some black stuff dripping from his car. I was like, is that oil? No, it's the fucking rubber of the tires being liquefied. I was like, fuck, that's awesome.
yes.
And then he does what he said he was going to do back in the middle of the movie, where he's going to bend Trixie over and, and kiss her in front. I know, I almost caught myself there,
What are
but
they gonna do?
he was gonna kiss her in front of all
After
the
the race.
flashing lights. And I thought it was such a cool little detail that the flashing lights turned into hearts.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
It's like a comic book almost. And then the Racer X Rex reveal to end the movie.
And
Which
it's
was
like, do you want to go down there with the rest of the family? It's like, no, they could never know.
So they could probably know now. You've sort of solved the issue. So this movie was apparently in like they've been trying to make it since the 90s. So the film was in early development in the 90s with Nicolas Cage offered the role of Racer X. At one point, Julian Temple, who I'm not really familiar with any of his work, he was going to direct it with Johnny Depp starring as Speed in the 90s. Then when Temple dropped out in 95, Gus Van Sant joined for a little bit. Then he was
This
gone.
is so interesting.
In December of 1997, Alfonso Cuarón was briefly hired to direct the film. Then in June of 2004, Vince Vaughn was going to produce the film and star as Racer X, but they just couldn't get it production off the ground, and so he just left.
This is insane.
Yeah, it's just crazy to like that all this. Yeah, it's just interesting. And now for like the casting
What's this guy's name? Is this Emil Hirsch?
Yeah. Why?
I think he did a good job. I think he did a good job as Speed.
It was like an interesting acting because it wasn't really didn't call for like a ton of range, and then the scenes where it did, it was like, I don't know. I thought it was fine. It didn't take away from the movie. The Wachowskis offered Keanu Reeves the role of Racer X, and he turned it down, which I think
he's like, I can't be in a movie called Speed and Speed Racer.
But if you could have somehow, you would have had to have like hidden his voice or something. But if you could have the reveal that it's Keanu Reeves, because I mean, like I knew it was Matthew Fox the entire time, but if you could somehow hide the reveal of who it is, I think it'd be cool. But I don't know. Keanu turned it down, so whatever.
But he gets facial reconstruction surgery. Why does it matter?
No, it would be Keanu. It would be Racer X. It wouldn't be Rex. It'd be Racer X. So it'd be a reveal to the audience. It'd be cool for us to be like, oh shit, Keanu's Racer X.
Instead of sitting there and being like, oh shit, the guy from Lost.
Yeah, except I knew it was Matthew Fox the whole time. I'm saying you would have somehow had to have hidden the fact of who it is, which would have been difficult. Like they,
you know, what would be funny.
Play it that way in the movie.
You know, what'd be really funny. You get a completely different actor to play Racer X when he has the mask on, and then he takes the mask off, and it's just a different actor.
Not bad. So, Elisha Cuthbert and Kate Mara were considered for Trixie, and then Rose McGowan was also considered.
I could have seen Rose McGowan doing a good job. She kind of looks like Christina Ricci.
Yeah, I could have seen that. Kate Mara would be different. I mean, but it's such a small part. It's like kind of a nothing part that it's like a lot of people could have done it.
Yeah,
you're really like sidelining Sarandon and Ricci in this. And then this is interesting. So Shia LaBeouf, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Zac Efron were considered for Speed Racer, which Shia, I don't know if he could play that subdued the way that it was played. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I think, is a great choice. Efron's interesting.
Levitt might have been too old.
I don't know. I think back then he was probably around the same age as these other guys.
Maybe. I think all three of those probably would have done the same as Emil Hirsch. I think it's just like at that point you're looking for something specific. And well, actually a really cool thing about adapting Speed Racer's live action is like if you look at the cartoon, there's not really like a real self-identifying feature on any of the family members, right?
No, yeah, they all look different.
No, I mean, I think the one that like kind of where the actor just looks so much like the cartoon is John Goodman
Because he's bigger.
because because he's bigger and kind of like the same shape and whatever. But all the other ones are just like little pale faces and just
Well, thanks for listening to another episode of I Finally Watched.
I don't know what you want to say. I don't know. I don't know what else. Hi, Milan.
And I finally watched Speed Racer.